What times to get the parking?
If they have the drawings.
Okay.
So close to
See the drawings, even if we're in
That fits.
See the-
Okay.
We're just gonna go.
That's okay.
All right.
Okay, welcome. Sorry for the late start from the technical difficulties, but we'll get going now. It's 5:46 PM on January 25th, and we'll call this Planning Commission in the city of Santa Clara to order. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation led by Mark Weston.
Please join me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are thankful this day for this time that we have to meet as a Santa Clara City Planning Commission. We are thankful for this city in which we live, and we would ask you to bless us that we may make wise decisions, that we will look over the things that are brought before us, so we can make wise choices for the city and for the people therein. And we ask these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Weston. Looking at our agenda tonight, there are no public hearings, and so we'll move on to our general business. First item of general business, item 4A1 is a monument sign approval for the Country Lane Commons located at the corner of Santa Clara Drive and Country Lane. Rick Schofield is the applicant. Turn time over to you.
Thanks, Chair Blake.
Mr. Hamilton.
We are having some difficulties tonight, so our planning commission does have copies of the drawings for the applications that are before us this evening, and I believe the applicants have those as well. But the first item is this monument sign. Rick is being represented by Star Sign. Carter Smith is the representative from Star Sign who's done the monument sign design for Rick. And so this would be for the Country Lane Commons project located at the northwest corner of Santa Clara Drive and Country Lane. So you've probably seen that coming up out of the ground over by Country Kids. The Santa Clara sign ordinance in chapter 1744 states that monument signs are allowed in the planned development commercial zone subject to planning commission approval. So that's why it's before you this evening. In the PDC zone, wall signs and monument signs come to the planning commission for review and approval. At this point in time, they're proposing one monument sign. It does meet city code requirements. The code states it cannot exceed 8 feet in height. The monument, the sign area of the monument shall not exceed 7 vertical feet, with the width not exceeding 12 feet. The square footage of a monument sign may not exceed 80 square feet of advertisement area. The applicant has provided calculations which indicate that the proposed monument sign is 7 feet in height and 9 feet in width, with an advertisement area of 63 square feet. The advertisement area includes internally illuminated letters. The monument sign will utilize materials and colors to match the building. There's a light gray stucco and a metal. And looking at that, it looks like it meets the requirements of chapter 1744 of city code. And so if you go to your packet, we looked at placement. And that drawing may not be in there. I may have missed it, but we had an issue last week where our building official, Cody Mitchell, did a site inspection. And I believe their individual representative from Star Sign did as well. But based on where it's located on the corner, we had to make sure it was out of the site visibility triangle because it's a one-sided sign facing, but it's on that corner angle. If you remember going back to the site plan, and I apologize for not having it in here, but we have the drawing. You can see right here, kind of on the corner, if you're familiar with the site, that's 3 of 6 in your packet, Planning Commission. And you can see where it is there. And our building official, Cody Mitchell, did a site inspection and measurements to make sure that it was indeed outside of the site visibility triangle, and it is. And so we verified that last week before we sent the report out. Right now, the end user that we're aware of is Orange Peel. I'm not sure about State Farm or the other tenant space, but they're looking to move forward on the monument sign only at this point in time. And so we did conduct that staff visit and determined the sign is located outside of the visibility triangle, so therefore it meets code. City staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve the proposed monument sign for the Country Lane Commons project located at the northwest corner of Santa Clara Drive and Country Lane. Subject to the conditions in the report, we had 4 of those. They're pretty basic, items 1 through 4. That's what we have at this point, Chair. The applicant, Rick Schofield, is on, and I believe Carter Smith is on as well to talk about this item if they have any questions or comments. So I'll turn it back over to you, Chair Blake.
Thank you, Mr. McNulty. Do the applicant have anything to add to that presentation?
I do not.
Okay, from that, we'll move on to discussion from the Planning Commission. Anybody have any concerns or anything with this?
Nope.
Nope.
No
I
concerns.
You, Shelley, you good?
I don't have any concerns, but, and I don't know if it's any big deal, but in the summary, in the second paragraph, the square footage of the monument sign may not exceed, and it's typed out 8. The number 80 follows it, but I wonder if we could, if Jim caught that and just added the Y.
Yes, we'll add the Y. It's meant to say 80 square feet. The number is 80, but the text is 8. So thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay. I don't think that's a code thing, so I think it's just kind of reiterating what's in the code. It's already in the code as 80 square feet, so I think we'll be fine with that. And it's not one of the conditions necessarily either, so.
Yeah, they're showing 63 square feet.
They're gonna be at
so-
63, that's what
Yeah.
they'll be approved for.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'll look for a motion then.
I motion that we approve we do the whole approval here, right? It just doesn't go anyplace
Yes,
else.
yes,
right?
this will
Okay.
be approval here.
All right, I recommend that we approve the sign as designed with the 4 existing recommendations from the city for the sign at 2276 Arrowhead, I'm sorry, the corner of Santa Clara Drive and Country Lane.
I'll second that, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, I got a motion by Commissioner Weston and a second by Commissioner Harris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that one passes unanimously for the approval. Okay, I think you're moving
Thank
on. Sorry, yeah, moving on to item 4A2 in the general business. Preliminary subdivision plat approval for the Arrowhead Crossing subdivision located at approximately 2276 Arrowhead Trail. Split Rock Construction is the applicant, represented by Adam Glover and Bart Smith.
Thanks, Chair Blake, and Jared Bates here with Rosenberg Engineers, also a representative of Split Rock Construction. They are requesting preliminary plat approval for Arrowhead Crossing. This plat includes a total of 7 single-family lots. The subject property is 1.48 acres. The R16 zone requires a minimum lot size of 6,000 square feet, which is approximately 0.14. The proposed lots range in size from 6,000 square feet, and you see there are lots 2, 3, 4, and 5 directly across the street from the homes on the south side of Arrowhead Trail. Those, 2, 3, and 4 are 6,000 square foot lots. Lot 5 is 6,234 square feet. Lot 6 is just over 7,500 square feet. And lot 7 is just over 7,000 square feet. And they are proposing a flag lot, lot 1, which would be on the most western portion of the site, adjacent to the Zachary Gubler home, a flag lot with a 25-foot access road or private driveway to the property back there. And that's a large lot, 0.55, 23,796 square feet. The property address, we just had an approximate address of 2276 Arrowhead Trail. Major cross streets in the vicinity are Lava Flow and Santa Clara Drive. Now, a few items that we need to address with the preliminary plat. public streets and dedication. And so all required public street improvements must meet city standards. The Public Works directors talked about a full asphalt width removal being required for utility connections on Arrowhead Trail. And then additionally, a 6-foot sidewalk is required on Lava Flow Drive. That's because we have an existing 6-foot sidewalk on Lava Flow. So they're going to connect to it. And then where the radius hits and it comes around and connects up with Arrowhead, it will transition to 5 feet because that's the standard now, is typical as a 5-foot sidewalk for residential. The other area is feeding to commercial as you go up towards Lammy and towards Santa Clara Drive. We do have some changes in grade across the site. So they're proposing some retaining walls. As a result, several retaining walls are proposed. City staff is recommending that the final construction drawings include full details for all proposed retaining walls. Building setbacks and building height, they have to meet the requirements of the R16 zone. This is the first project to develop under the R16 zone. And so the building height's limited to 30 feet. Our other zones in the city have a building height of 35 feet. And then the setbacks, they have to meet the setback criteria and the building height. One thing I did want to indicate is the Planning Commission, those of you that were on the Planning Commission last year, on April 12th of 2023, you'll recall that this was rezoned. So it came to the Planning Commission in late March, and then the rezoning occurred the first meeting of April. With the city council. So the property has been zoned to R16. This is a permitted use in the land use district, a single family lots, minimum 6,000 square feet in size. They are proposing one flag lot. Lot 1 is a flag lot on the plat. A flag lot requires approval by the Planning Commission. The staff portion of the lot must front on a public street and be a minimum 25 feet in width, wide with a maximum length of 200 feet. It meets that criteria. The length's not anywhere near the 200 feet to get to the lot area there. And then the width is 25 feet of asphalt. If the Planning Commission determines that this is an efficient use of land, the applicant will be required to comply with city code requirements for a flag lot. So that's the setbacks and things of that nature. And then you'll see on the east side of the lot, it says building envelope has to front the west. So the idea is they'll put the home over in that area of the lot. So it would be behind the homes on lots 2, 3, and 4. And then the front setback would be that setback facing west on the home. Verification of culinary water and secondary water availability is required. And then with all development, dust control, the applicant will be required to submit a dust control plan prior to final plat recordation. We need to make sure precautionary measures are in place to protect the general health, safety, and welfare of residents living in the vicinity. As far as neighborhood response, public notices are not required for subdivision. Again, this is a permitted use based on the R16 zone. However, the Planning Commission agenda has been posted in locations as per state code. We haven't received any emails or phone calls at the time this report was sent out, nor have I received any this week. As far as reviewing departments, the building department will require a geotechnical report prior to each residential home, prior to a building permit being issued on the home. For a home, power department wants the public utility easements shown on the plat clearly, and that's part of what's required on a final plat. Public Works wants the PUE easements as well, and then all public streets must be included on the final plat, and then the Mylar with signature blocks. We also talked about with the final construction drawings, and we've added it as a condition of approval that we get more detail on those retaining walls because of the changes of grade on the site. Utah Code Section 52.4.202 includes requirements for a subdivision. City must hold a public meeting to consider a subdivision plat. We're doing that. The agenda, date, time, and place of the meeting must be placed on the city website and in public locations. We've met that statute. So we've met all state code requirements. Now, just so you know, before I read the recommendation, subdivision plats now receive approval by the Planning Commission. So the Senate Bill 174 that was adopted last year made all cities in the state amend their subdivision ordinance to a 2-step process. And so what that is, you submit the plans to us, we determine when the plan's complete, then we take the preliminary subdivision plat to the Planning Commission for review and approval, which is what we're doing tonight. And then when they submit the final plat, that's just an administrative review with our city staff, our TRC, the engineer. And then once that meets criteria, we can sign it and allow it to record. So city councils are out of the business of reviewing subdivision plats now, as per state code and the changes to our ordinances that we were directed to do. So city staff recommends that the planning commission consider granting preliminary subdivision plat approval for the Arrowhead Place subdivision subject to the following conditions. And I have items 1 through 8 for this. And so that's what I have at this point, Chair. Blake, I'll turn it over to you, and the applicant and his engineering rep are here this evening.
Okay, thank you. I guess so can you clarify for me condition 5 and what that's about, the envelope? What is?
Well, what we're saying is that lot 1 be approved as a flag lot. So the planning commission has to approve the flag lot through
Yeah.
this process. So that's the first part. And then also that the building envelope for lot 1 be included on the recorded plat. And so the building envelope, they're showing it there. And we want to make sure that that is shown on the final Mylar when they record the plat,
So-
because their intention is to build the home there. And then they may build some type of an accessory structure at some point on the other half of the lot once they build the single family home on the property.
So that's being self-imposed? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, you can ask the applicant that, but our understanding is they want to put a home on the east side of the lot behind lots 2, 3, and 4. And then the west side of the lot is an area where they, may do some backyard type of stuff and a detached garage. And so generally with a flag lot, now this flag lot's really big, we have a building envelope because it has to meet the setbacks for the zone. So a front setback is 20 feet in the R16, it's a little shorter. Side yards are 6 and 8 and a rear is 10 feet. So a lot of times on the final plat, they'll show us that envelope and then they'll show the side yard setback and the rear yard setback, that they're going to fit in that envelope. But it's up to the planning commission. If you don't feel that they need to do that, or we don't need that much detail, that's fine as well. I'm just trying to make sure that, a home can be built that meets the setback requirements in this case. And I know, Chair Blake, you probably deal with this quite a bit, being a professional PE and doing plats, but it is a flag lot. At one time, they thought they would have 2 building lots back here, but they've gone to just one large lot. So.
No, that was just a question I had. If you guys want to talk about that,
My name is Bart Smith. I represent Split Rock Construction. And we were doing the flag lot. Our intention was just to put one home and then a detached garage. We're thinking we're going to end up owning that home to rent it in the future, just because it's just a complicated lot and the property is very complicated to make this all happen. So,
and you as applicant feel it's better to be on that.
we felt it's better to put the house on that side
Okay.
so that we could put the detached garage against the commercial that it backs up to. We're just trying to be a good neighbor to the commercial, and anyway,
No.
there's more commercial backing to that. So we thought if we put the detached garage that way and keep the house more with the residential side, it will just be a little better for that house.
Okay. One other question I had is probably for Jared.
Okay.
Curious why, and maybe it's just, why is there not dimensions on these lots?
I don't know, are there not dimensions on the plat?
No.
The preliminary plat that we have, the updated one, because we went through a few revisions, the newest one that had the building envelope, I guess your surveyor, the dimensions aren't shown like the plat we took to TRC. Now at TRC, we clearly saw all the dimensions, 50 feet wide by
Yeah, no,
120
it's there,
deep.
sorry.
But they all complied with ordinance at that point. I think for some reason that detail just got left off on this one. I don't know why. So,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was all there. I don't know if it just got turned off.
I'm just,
I wondered the same thing, because I
just-
was wondering what the minimum.
I mean,
Frontage
if
is-
we're approving this, are we approving this graphic? I mean, I get the sizes are there, but part of the requirements is the dimensions.
I mean, you've got development data on the side with all of that information, but the dimensions aren't here.
Yeah, basically they're all 50. So lots 2, 3, 4, and 5 are 50 feet across. So that's the minimum frontage.
I
And
believe they're 50 by 120 to get to the 6,000 square
Yeah.
feet.
That's it. And so that's
But
where
he updated the plat to show the envelope
we had that envelope, and I'm not sure how that got
and
turned off. Yeah.
update on all the walls with all the detail. And for some reason, the dimensions are messed, but that's something we will make sure is on a final Mylar before it ever records. So
So in the square footage of lot 6, that doesn't include, that includes removing, that's not going to that thick black line. That's removing the right of way and the CR and everything. Radius there, lot 6. It's kind of hard to tell where,
Right. No, I'm trying to think what. Well, the right of way is the black line. That is the property line now. Obviously, we're not going to develop where the sidewalk is at and where the asphalt is at existing. But as far as where the property is at, that is the property. So it is, I guess, it'd be slightly less than what's shown there. Yeah, right. And the pad is smaller than that. So. And then that one is 7,500. So you've got plenty of space above the 6,000 square foot minimum there.
that home could face either street as well, depending on
yeah.
the orientation. So
And you can see kind of on here the different pad elevations. Is there, I guess it's not known what that Loft Holdings lot's gonna be relative to those.
Sorry, which one? Oh, no. So my understanding is, at least on a preliminary basis, that one, the finished floor is going to be about 60. So 2760 is what that will be. And that's kind of, if you look at the map there, you see where it says Loft House Holdings LLC, that contour line that's just south of that, I think that's the 60 contour, just based on other information. Yeah, you can see you can see it's labeled there to the 60. If you look close, it's kind of small on 11 by 17.
yeah, they have to meet all of the development code standards of 1763 for lot size and setback. And
So
I don't know, we got the detail. We've TRC'd it twice, and I think adding that envelope for some reason, something got dropped.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know why.
I can resend it or whatever.
Yeah.
I can send it.
Yeah. I think we're good. We've TRC'd twice, and we'll take the final plat there as well before you can record. So
Like I said, I'm fine with the layout
Yeah.
of it. I don't see any issues with that. I was just, I don't know, to me, gotta make sure if we're approving everything, it'd be nice to know that those are for sure 50 feet, but now that we've discussed it in the meeting, I think we'll be on the record that they're 50 feet wide. They meet all the width requirements of the zone and everything. And then, yeah, when you have the walls there, so the pad elevations, so we'll know those would be fairly good size, but we knew that going into this because of the grades out there and everything. So it just is to be expected. Yeah, then I don't have any other questions.
we don't have a full house like we had last year for the previous application.
Right.
So
at this point, it's they can build these. So,
yes. Mhm.
Anybody else have anything they want to discuss or ask the applicant?
I don't have any questions, but I just compliment how you've designed this. I think this is a good use of space, and I think this will be an asset to our city. And so I think it's a great plan, great
Thank you.
design.
Well, and I think it'll be a product that's well received because we're hearing up at some of the legislation, and there's a Bill 306 being run through right now, and they're talking about small lots and cities having to allow lots as small as 5,400 square feet. And so I don't know if that's really one size fits all and what will happen with that type of legislation. There's a lot of pushback so far, but we'll see by the end of the session. So we may see more of these smaller lots.
I think it complements the neighborhood well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Well, with that, I guess we can look for a motion. Oh, sorry, Shelley, did you have anything you wanted to
No, Logan, you covered confusion, so thank you.
add? Commissioner Weston, anything or?
Somebody look on me.
Where I can use the address I started before? Okay. Okay, I'll get it going. I recommend approval for the preliminary plat for the Arrowhead Crossing subdivision at 2276 Arrowhead Trail. As designed herein with the added recommendations from the city. Are there 8, I believe?
Correct, 8
Yep.
conditions.
Okay.
I
I'll
second
second.
Should
Go
be,
ahead,
yeah.
go ahead.
that. Sorry, Shelley, I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Weston and a second by Commissioner Hunter. Just remember, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh,
You have to approve the,
I appreciate your vote, but I think, do you have to approve the number 5 on a separate approval?
No, you mean for the flag lot?
For the flag lot? Do you have?
No,
you
no,
don't.
it's,
It's
I've
built-
conditioned it that they approve
Okay,
it.
I
they
just wanted
approve
to
it
make
as a
sure
flag
because
lot.
sometimes
Yeah,
they require
right.
approval of the subdivision and then a second approval. for
Well,
this-
that's
for
because
the
some
flag lot.
jurisdictions have flag lots as a conditional use. And
Okay.
that's a little bit different. We have them as a permitted use and we just condition them as such at the planning
Okay,
commission.
I just wanted to make that,
But that's
make
a
sure we
good-
were
good
clear
question.
because.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
okay. Yeah, I think that motion's good and passed unanimously, so we can move on and they can work with staff on moving on with that. Okay, back to the agenda, moving on. Do we have any discussion items? Says none. Anything else we need to bring before the commission until we approve it?
Yes, it's looking like we may not have a meeting on February 8th, but we definitely will have a planning commission on the 22nd. I will let you know next week for sure what's decided on that. And then the ULI spring conference we talked about at the last meeting, all 7 planning commissioners have signed up and we've registered each of you, and that's taken care of. And so more to come on that sooner as we get sooner to the event. But we've registered each of you and paid the fee, and we're glad you're all wanting to come that day. It's basically from 8 to 4 on March 22nd. This year it's at the Abbey Inn. It says 8:30, but 8:30 is when they're started, and there's always food before and that type of thing. So I'd say be there around 8. So that's it for now, Chair Blake.
Great. Let's move on to approval of the minutes from our last meeting from Thursday, January 11th, 2024.
I had a couple, I don't know if you want typos and stuff.
Sure. Just tell us what page.
So page 2 of second paragraph from the bottom, the second sentence, it says if TAN application, I think there's an extra letter there.
Sorry,
I-
page 2, which paragraph?
The second paragraph from the bottom,
Uh-huh.
it says if TAN application, I think it's just,
If and, yes.
I tried to figure out what that was, Jim, but I couldn't quite figure it out. And then, on page 4, where you noted me asking about legislative zone change. I don't remember that, but that's fine. You can leave my name there, but, item number 2, will you read that and see if that makes sense to you underneath, where you said Commissioner Harris asked for clarification regarding legislative zone change. And then you said staff detailed the following. Is item number 2 make sense? I could not make sense of that.
You mean where it says should the zoning change?
No, a city may not require an applicant that is not expressed in state law?
Okay, I'm trying to find it. Our overheads aren't working tonight. Oh, a city may not require an applicant that is not expressed in state. Yeah, I think that's a typo. I'll have to go back and look at my presentation and change that. There's obviously a wording error there.
If I'm open to the fact that I maybe don't, there is something, but anyway, will you
Yeah.
just look at that?
Yep.
And then on page 5, you notice or note again that I asked a question about discussion with citizens, and I think that was Kristen. It's second paragraph from the bottom on page 5.
Yeah, that was Commissioner.
Right here.
Walton.
Okay, so that'll be page 5, second from bottom, Commissioner Walton. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. I can make those changes.
Then I move to approve the minutes with the noted changes from the January 11th Santa Clara Planning Commission.
I'll second that.
Got a motion from Commissioner Harris, a second from Commissioner Weston to approve the minutes from the 11th of January. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Those are approved. Okay. I think it seems like we're done. We talked about upcoming
Mhm.
meeting. So we're not going to have one on February 8th, but be February 22nd.
We will on the 22nd. I'm looking to cancel the 8th, but I will let you know for sure Monday or Tuesday of next week.
Oh, so that's not a for sure cancellation.
I think it is, but I need to talk to the city
Okay.
manager and make sure there's nothing that's ready. So
Okay, well,
I'll verify with you. I've got it on my to-do for Monday afternoon. So
if there's nothing further, then I'll look for motion to adjourn to the next posted meeting. To be adjourned.
I move to adjourn.
thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.